Welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast, where we talk about how to create a life you won't need an escape from. I'm Coach Simone, author of the book 111 Ways to Simplify Your Life, and I'm glad you decided to tune in. In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about how to stop feeling not good enough. And I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to accept yourself for exactly who you are. Now, before we get into my first tip on how to stop feeling not good enough, let's talk about why it happens in the first place. When you think about it, not being good enough is simply a concept that your mind made up. It's a core belief, and thankfully, it is something that you can work on. Now, what is that voice inside your head that keeps saying mean things to you? Let's call it the inner critic. It's the internalized voice of a parent, teacher, or primary caretaker who criticized you growing up. It's not you. The thing is, what your inner critic says has nothing to do with reality. The reason you feel like you're not good enough is because you've internalized this belief at a very young age. It's so deeply ingrained in your psyche that it's kind of like the default settings on your phone. You can only change it if you actually put in the work and consciously choose to adopt new, more helpful beliefs. Here are some of the weapons your inner critic uses to keep you stuck. It may appear the moment you're about to do something big or scary. Or it may be there as a background noise, saying things like, "He's too good for you. He will never call you again." One of the most important takeaways I want you to take from this podcast episode is that you are not your thoughts. Your mind is actually holding you back, and now I'm going to tell you exactly what to do about it. My first tip is to become aware of your thoughts. I want you to commit to doing the following exercise every day for at least a week. Write down all the negative beliefs and thoughts you have about yourself. It might seem uncomfortable and scary at first, but in order to rewire your brain, you have to start by getting to know the unpleasant thoughts you've been thinking about yourself on a daily basis. After you become aware of your negative thoughts, you can proceed to all the negative emotions that you feel as a result of them. For example, the thought, "I don't feel good enough," might lead to a feeling of shame, sadness, anxiety, maybe even anger. Write down next to these thoughts the emotions you feel and try to rate them from 1 to 10, with 1 being the weakest and 10 being the strongest emotion. The third step in this process is to become aware of the behaviors you engage in as a result of your negative thoughts and feelings. Think of it this way. Every time you experience self-deprecating thoughts, this leads to a negative emotion, and you engage in an unhelpful behavior as a result. For example, after feeling ashamed of yourself or sad or powerless, you may binge Netflix, eat junk food, or use other types of distractions to alleviate the pain. Now, once you become aware of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you can choose more helpful thoughts, which in turn will help you reframe your mindset by changing the beliefs you have about yourself. For example, next time you go through the "I'm not good enough" thought, sadness, unhelpful behavior cycle, choose a new thought, such as, "I'm doing the best that I can and that is enough." Or write down something like, "My worth is inherent. I'm already enough." Now, sometimes not feeling good enough has something to do with suppressing a certain aspect of your personality. I've created a free cheat sheet that will help you get to know your shadow self. If you want to download it, just click the link in the description box below or head over to coachsimono.com/shadow. My next tip is to embrace yourself for exactly who you are. So far, we've examined the core reason for not feeling good enough and how to combat your negative thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Now, let's get to the best part, developing self-compassion and self-acceptance. Embracing yourself for exactly who you are means being okay with all aspects of your personality, every negative sensation in your body, and every unwanted reaction. We all make mistakes, and we all learn from them by accepting the ultimate truth. We're only human. So part of healing the belief of not feeling good enough is to understand that the only way to actually feel good enough is to build healthy self-esteem. So how can we do that? Well, the first thing you can do is forgive yourself for all the things you've done wrong in the past. It's so easy to put pressure on yourself, to feel guilty for past mistakes, or to wish you could have done things differently. But if you don't change the way you perceive the past and genuinely move on from it, it will always hold you back. I've created a free masterclass called 3 Confidence Secrets Every Woman Needs to Know that will give you more insights on this topic. If you want to learn more, just click the first link in the description box below or head over to coachsimono.com/masterclass. My next tip is to be compassionate with yourself. Now, after you forgive yourself, you can start focusing on the traits that you like the most about yourself. If you've always thought that you weren't good enough, this could be a little tricky. So I want you to start small. I want you to pause this episode and write down 3 things that you like about yourself, or at least say them out loud. They don't have to be these big, grandiose things. Here are a few examples. I like the way I make lasagna. or I like the way I laugh. The important thing is to train your brain to focus on your strengths instead of your weaknesses. The next step is to learn to be kind and gentle with yourself. If you're used to beating yourself up over everything, it might be difficult to start being compassionate and kind. So here is the first step you can take. Next time you feel like indulging in self-deprecating thoughts or self-criticism, I want you to do the following. Sit down, preferably at a quiet place, and just observe your thoughts. Take deep breaths and see them for what they truly are: transient, repetitive, just thoughts. At some point, you will notice that they will become weaker and weaker until they completely disappear. When you approach your mind with a sense of curiosity and detach yourself from the identity you've created in your mind, you diminish the power of your negative thoughts. And here's where self-compassion comes into play. Self-compassion is being okay with exactly who you are, right here, right now. It's about accepting whatever's happening in your mind and body. Now, if you want a step-by-step framework that will help you learn to love and accept yourself for exactly who you are, check out the Self-Love Toolkit by visiting www.theselflovetoolkit.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, please like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.